Hi, my name is Emily Becker, and I decided to do my video on education, and I decided on this subject because I went to private school all my life until coming to U of M Flint. I went to Valley Lutheran High School in Saginaw, so I just wanted to get different people's perspectives from different backgrounds on what they think about education and how their experiences might have differed from mine. So the first person I chose to interview was my friend Joyce Capelli. I met her last year when we both lived at First Street Residence Hall here on campus. I chose her because she was born in Bangladesh and moved here when she was pretty young. So I wanted to get her input on her education when she was in Bangladesh and also how it was different from when she moved here to the States. I got her to be interviewed. I just asked her over text if she would be willing, and I told her my subject, and she was completely willing to do that for me, so I was really thankful for that. I asked the same questions to everyone, so you will see those in the interview section of the video. And I think she received all the questions relatively well. I didn't ask anything too groundbreaking, just her background, her experiences in the school she went to, and how her education has impacted her life and shaped her into the person that she is now. She had a very different educational background than me, and she's also majoring in something completely different, so that was a good perspective as well. So when and where were you born?
I was born in Dhaka, Bangladesh in 1999, September 19th.
Okay, when did you move to Michigan?
I moved to Michigan when I was about 11 or 12, and it was 2012, January 25th.
So what is your educational background? And please elaborate on your experience. So like the type of schools you went to and your current highest degree of education. Yes, from all the way.
From all the way?
Yes.
I was in private school before I moved to the States. I went to a Catholic private school. It was pretty strict, but it was great. It was fine. And then I moved to the States and I went to public school, which was, it was fine too, I guess. It wasn't as fancy or anything, but you got to see the real world. I don't know. I saw my first fight in public school. And I did dual enrollment in college the last 2 years, and then I moved to Flint for nursing. And now I'm in the direct admission, and I just got accepted to the nursing school, so I started in winter, so January.
Well, congratulations on getting
you.
accepted. Okay, so if you could change one thing about the education system, what would it be?
Paying teachers more so that they're actually are you
talking about at a high school?
At a high school level.
Okay.
Paying teachers more because they do a lot of work and they have to pay for a lot of things for their class to be more interactive and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It totally depends on which district you are in, but in general, just pay them more because they do have a bachelor's and master's degree, and they don't get paid enough, and they have to buy a lot of the times they have to buy their own supplies and things just so their class is fun and interesting, which I think is not fair.
Yeah, I agree with you. So what part of education in general or your personal education have you valued the most?
Have I valued the most?
What has been most beneficial to your life?
Doing my dual enrollment program in high school. It saved me, I'm guessing it saved me a lot of money because I didn't have to do the gen eds.
Mm-hmm.
I already came in with 40 credits and I didn't have to pay for any of that, so probably that, because just having that backup of okay, I'll just take my, like, the classes that I need to take, or, like, even if I wanted to change my major, I could, and I'd still have, like, a lot of the classes, so that was really beneficial.
Gotcha. So, how did your education shape you into the person you are today?
Oh, interesting. I don't know if it's just like education, like just knowledge based, but I think just coming here, or even like moving to like just Michigan, like going through public school, I feel like it's just, I've seen more diversity. Like, even though my school wasn't diverse, like there were people like who are really different from me, and that happened to me even more after I moved to Flint, because I see people of all colors and shapes and sizes here. So I think that just meeting new people and like understanding the world more from like their perspective too. So it's like, what I think, it's not like what I think is right. It's like, people go through different experiences, and just to like see the world in like different lenses. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. Yeah. Make sense. Well, thank you for letting me interview you today. You're very helpful.
No problem.
My second person I chose to interview is Sam Erickson. I chose him because he's one of my good friends, and I knew he'd be willing to do it for me. And also, I just met him last year, and he also has a very different educational background from me, so I thought it'd be interesting to get his perspective. Introduce yourself, please.
My name is Sam Erickson.
Okay, when and where were you born?
I was born September 1st, 2000 in Lansing, Michigan.
Okay. Have you always lived in Lansing, or did you ever live anywhere else?
I've always lived there, same house.
Okay. So what is your educational background? So elaborate on your personal experience. You can go all the way back from pre-K up until now.
So from pre-K till end of high school, everything, I've just always been in public schools. And then throughout middle school, I was in a Jewish academy where I went there several times a week, and now I'm in college.
And what's your major?
Political science.
Okay. If you could change one thing about the education system, what would it be and why?
So in the education system as a whole, I believe that money is a huge issue. Even throughout middle school, elementary school, high school, there are still things that people have to pay for, such as sports and clubs and honor societies and things like that. So I think that that is an issue for a lot of people who aren't fortunate enough to pay for it. And then of course college as well. I believe you should still have to pay to go to college, but the rates that it's going at is, I feel like it's far too ridiculous. So if those could be cut back, then I feel like that would make things better.
Okay. What part of education do you value the most? So you could talk about in general or your personal education.
Yeah. So I come from a family where there are a lot of professors, and there's also a lot of people who went to Ivy League schools and really valued education. So through that, I've been able to gain an understanding of how important education is and where education can take you further on in life. And these people in my family, they are some of the smartest people that I know. And so I really do value just knowledge in general. And then also, I think education is a great way to build bonds between people and meet new people and have great experiences, especially in college. So yeah, it's a combination of all those things.
Okay. And how did your education shape you into the person you are today?
It's definitely opened my eyes a lot. I've been exposed to a lot of things, especially in college. I've found a lot of new passions and created a lot of new friendships, such as you. So, yeah, all throughout high school, everything, college, been able to find myself more as a person.
Okay, well, thank you, Sam. Thank you
No
for
problem.
letting me interview you.
Thank you.
I hope you have a good day.
You too.
The third person I interviewed is Richard. He is from the Netherlands and he's just here for this fall semester. So I thought it'd be interesting to see what his education was like in the Netherlands and how it's different from here and how he's liking it. Okay. So when and where were you born?
I born in the Netherlands, 1996, on March the 16th.
Okay.
You know which place? You need to know which place? Or
Yeah, you can tell me.
Helmond.
Okay.
It's called Helmond.
Okay, so when did you move to Michigan?
Uh,
Or are you just here for school, or like have you moved here full time?
No, I will be here for 1 semester, and I've been here now for 3 weeks, 3 to 4 weeks, something like that. Yeah.
Okay. So, what is your educational background? So, like, what types of schools did you go to from the time you were young, like up until now?
Yeah. At first, elementary school, and in the Netherlands, it's still you're 12, and then in the Netherlands you go to sort of middle school, and that's is till you're 16. And my middle school was what was the level? Yeah, the levels are you cannot compare it with here in the US, but it's mid-level till low level.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you go to public school or was it a private school?
Public school.
Public school.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then I went to did an education. It was about a technical education, but you had to learn technical stuff like welding, milling, a milling machine, and mounting things, but also learn how to draw technical drawings and how to read them and how to understand technical things. And then I started my Bachelor of Engineering, of Mechanical Engineering.
Okay.
So yeah, that's where I'm at now.
That's why you're here now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Now I'm in my last year.
Okay.
Yeah.
About to graduate. Okay, so if you could change one thing about the education system, what would it be and why?
My education system, that's a tough one. At first, more mathematical subjects. At the beginning, I struggled real hard with the mathematics, and everything with engineering is based on physics and math, and I was not on the same level as it should be. So that's a thing I would change.
Okay. Is there anything specific like about the schools that you would change, like the way something was taught, or like the expenses of anything?
Like the building itself, or how?
Just anything.
Sometimes smaller classes, so with smaller groups. We are with 25 to 30 people. That's too much when you want some interaction with educator.
Okay.
That's also a thing I would change.
Okay.
Yeah.
What part of education do you value the most?
It's not that you learn how to do the math and the physics assignments, but it's the overall thinking where you end, and like adult, and how to solve things, and become a smarter and a more independent person.
Okay.
And with the background of a certain subject, in my case engineering, but I think that's the biggest thing, that's the most important thing.
Okay. And this is the last question. How did your education shape you into the person you are today?
I kind of described it, my
Just
last
then,
last thing. Problem solver, independent, but also an all-rounder. I can fit in multiple disciplines.
Okay, well, thank you for letting me interview you.
Thank you.
So what I noticed after all 3 of the interviews was that both Joyce and Sam, when I asked them what they would change about the education system, they both kind of mentioned the expenses of everything. And Joyce thought we should be paying teachers more, and Sam thought maybe it shouldn't cost so much, and all of those things. And they both have gone to public school in the United States most of their lives. And Richard, when I interviewed him, he was more worried about the personal interaction with the educator. He talked about how he would prefer smaller classes for better learning. So those were kind of 2 different perspectives. The people from here maybe are more concerned about pricing than in the Netherlands, just from what I gathered. I think all of my questions were received relatively well by all 3 of the people I interviewed. And also, I didn't tend to see much bias. The only thing I noticed, as far as stereotypes maybe, was Joyce was talking about public versus private schools. She just kind of touched on how private school, was a lot nicer and everything, and when she started going to public school, it was a little rough. She saw her first fight, things along those lines. So that was the only thing I noticed, but of course that was her personal experience and what she witnessed in her transition from private to public schooling.